जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की, गंगामाई जमुनामाई की, तुलसी देवी भक्ति देवी की, सागर वीर भक्त वृंद की, हरिनाम संकीर्तन की, जय निताय गो प्रेमानंद। All glories to the Son. Glories to the Son. All glories to the Son. All glories to Sri Guru Gauranga. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. Can you move in? The preaching into a big hall here. You think I know them? I'm going to read from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 7, titled What Prahlad Learned in the Womb. Text 42. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Shudhaya Dukha Mokshaya Shankalpaya Yakarniya Saratnotiyaya Dukham Anihaya Sukhavritaha. This morning during japa, I was just thinking about happiness, how to be happy in life. So I thought I'd speak about how to be happy in the material world. And so we're going to quote from Prahlad Maharaj here in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Translation of that is, in this material world, every materialist desires to achieve happiness and diminish his distress, and therefore he acts accordingly. Actually, however, one is happy as long as one does not endeavor for happiness. As soon as one begins his activities for happiness, his conditions of distress begin. Please repeat. In this material world, every materialist desires to achieve happiness and diminish his distress, and therefore he acts accordingly. Actually, however, one is happy as long as one does not endeavor for happiness. As soon as one begins his activities for happiness, his conditions of distress begins. Every conditioned soul is bound by the laws of material nature. As described in Bhagavad Gita, Prakita Krina Manani Gunai Karmani Savashaha. Everyone has achieved a certain type of body given by material nature according to the instructions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ishvaraha Savabhutanam Yudheshi Guna Vidasati. Pramayam Savabhutani Yantrithani Mayaya. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of the material energy. Bhagavad Gita 1861. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Super Soul, is present in everyone's heart. And as the living entity desires, the Lord gives him facilities with which to work, according to his ambitions in different grades of bodies. The body is just like an instrument by which the living entity moves according to false desires for happiness, and thus suffers the pangs of birth, death, old age and disease in different standards of life. Everyone begins his activities with some plan and ambition, but actually from the beginning of one's plan to the end, one does not derive any happiness. On the contrary, as soon as one begins acting according to his plan, his life of distress immediately begins. Therefore, one should not be ambitious to dissipate the unhappy condition of life, for one cannot do anything about them. Ahankara virudatma kataham itiman yate, Bhagavad Gita 3:27. Although one is acting according to false ambitions, he thinks he can improve his material conditions by his activities. The Vedas enjoin that one should not try to increase happiness or decrease distress, for this is futile. Tasaiva heto prayateta kovitaha. One should work for self-realization, not for economic development, which is impossible to improve. Without endeavor, one can get the amount of happiness and distress for which he is destined, and one cannot change this. Therefore, it is better to use one's time for advancement in the spiritual life of Krishna consciousness. One should not waste his valuable life as a human being. It is better to utilize this life for developing Krishna consciousness without ambitions for so-called happiness. End of purport. Again, translation. In this material world, every materialist desires to achieve happiness and diminish his distress, and therefore he acts accordingly. Actually, however, one is happy as long as one does not endeavor for happiness. As soon as one begins his activities for happiness, this condition of distress begins. Prahlad Maharaj is one of the Mahajans, one of the spiritual authorities that we follow in our line. And this is his realization that says every materialist is desiring happiness and desiring to offset distress. I don't think it's only materialists, I think it's everyone. Devotees are always, I get so many emails every day to Lord Nishingadev. People want their distress removed. And it's a natural condition for us. In life, we always want the easy way. We always try the easiest path. We always try to cut corners. It's natural, because living is difficult in the material world. Now in Serbia it's difficult. I keep hearing people say, oh, Serbian economy is down, difficult to live. Am I speaking too fast? Translate? Yes. Yeah, so the material world is always difficult. The different nations, they come up. One time one nation is great, then they go down, and another one comes up, then one is prosperous, and then there's then one time everyone goes down when there's a big world war. And it's like that all the time, according to the national karma. So you get these variations. But the fact is, everyone is from the spiritual viewpoint, everyone is suffering. Poor little soul, this tiny little soul inside. It's suffering like anything, dragging this huge body around here and trying to make it satisfy the desires of this body. Hard work. What a shame. So this is due to ignorance of our real identity, misidentification with the body as the self, which is the root cause of all the problems. So this is what Prahlad is stressing here, that we're looking for that lost happiness, Ananda is our nature. We're looking for that. In the subconscious, we know that, we want to be happy. This material life is it's got a hard struggle for existence. Prabhupada uses that word quite a lot. I couldn't appreciate it for about 20 years in Krishna, after 20 years of Krishna consciousness. Life is actually a hard struggle. I think life's not so bad. Hare Krishna is a little bit negative. It's not so bad. It's ups and downs, but overall it's not so bad. But yeah, in analysis, if you analyze, actually as soon as you wake up in the morning, you got a problem. Yeah? Think about it. You can't just, cloudy day, rainy day, I'm going to stay. You can't do it. Nature won't let you stay there. You'll be forced to do something. So it's a problem, you see. As soon as you wake up, you have to resolve those problems. And especially for the pujaris. I know some of the rules of the pujaris. We just heard the etiquette from Maharaj. So many rules are there. Because you have to be very careful how you're dealing with Krishna. So therefore, so many little things you have to be careful of that normally we may not notice. Difficult situations. So the rules are there to insulate us from Maya. It's like we have when we take initiation, when we're serious about spiritual life, then we accept a spiritual master. So he'll give us our basic infrastructure. Not only dealing with sex, intoxication, gambling. So you stay within that area, within those walls, and then you're protected, insulated. As soon as you go outside, then you're on your own. But when you're inside, you have the protection of the Parampara, the Guru. But outside, then, Haribol. It's you and Maya. So, but within that, there's quite a good scope for, eating, sleeping, defending and enjoying. We have quite a big scope to do it. As we're in the camp, we're enjoying the situation. But even within that, that's the basic thing. If you follow that, Srila Prabhupada said, you follow that, you chant your 16 rounds and you can go back to Godhead. So just tolerate for another, how long have you got? 50 years? 20? I got 13, according to the astrologers. Not long. Not long. It'll soon be gone. So you just have to tolerate these different kleshas, material kleshas that we have. Adhyatmic, adhidevik, adhivoktik. So here Prahlad is saying that as soon your problems begin, material problems begin, as soon as you make an endeavor for happiness. Because we mentioned yesterday, this place is called Gunta. Not Vaikuntha, Gunta, obstruction. Pressure here, Gunta. We're pressured by time and space. Difficult to move to space. Right? It's difficult to go anywhere. Right? You got to make an endeavor, you got to have a car, you got to get petrol, you got to do that, you got to work all day. It's difficult to do anything to get from A to B. Time and space, and then you may not achieve your objective. So that spiritual world is not there. There's no pressure. The ground is Chintamani. The trees are Kalpavrika. Anything you want, you can have. There's so much freedom in the spiritual world. Whatever you desire, you can have. It's like that. So much freedom. So we're not used, and it's there in the subconscious. It's there. Now we're feeling a lacking here. Now we to experience that freedom, that happiness, and that ability that we have in the spiritual world. So although that's been taken away, Still somewhere in the subconscious. This is what we're all aiming for. Two things, only two things. Is to remove distress, for a better state of living, right? For a better position in life, and happiness. This is the whole, two things only. And within that two things, within that lifetime, there's four things. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending. That's this material life. You can sum it up in those categories. That's all everyone is concerned with. That's the material world. So it's all the material world is. It means karma. That's all it is. It's just running on the laws of karma, and under Krishna's arrangement, by Krishna's direction. So there's no luck or chance in the material world. So you can't. Here, also you can't. It's illusion to think you can improve your economic condition. Even if you can, it doesn't mean to say you're going to be more happy. Your happiness and distress is already there. You go to the Jyotish, good one, he'll tell you, oh, this time is going to be problematic. You got some bad karma coming around this time. Here it's going to be good. Here's clear. How does he know these things? How does he know our material destiny? Because it's already. Because he can understand by the astrological calculations. If he's good, this is the circumstances that we're born in, and we have to look forward to these things which are going to come. So we can't change that. Krishna can change it. It's my energy. It works under his direction. He can change it for us. And at the time of initiation, then that's greatly reduced. The karma is really, the Guru absorbs so much of that karma, so much of our karma, so we don't have to experience a lot of except Krishna's very kind that he lets you. He lets the devotee, aspiring devotee, experience the good results of his pious activities, but he minimizes the results of the bad karma. Because for the devotee, a person who is accepted, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and I'm his eternal servant, and I will engage in his service, then he's understood. He has nothing to learn. Right? That's the ultimate lesson. So the reverses in life are just to tell us that you can't be comfortable here in the material world. Because we're trying to adjust all the time, but the material nature won't let us adjust. She won't let us be peaceful. Right? Pushing. You've got to eat, sleep, do all those things, maintain your body. Every day, same thing, repetition. No peace, not for long. And if you try to go against that, then these pleasures say, you know Maya Devi, she has that, what do you call it? Trisol? Huh? Prongs. Yeah. What do you call it? Trident. Yeah. English. Trisol. What do you say in Serbian? Trozubat. So she's got that Adi Atma Gadi Devi Gadi Bodhi. So her job is to keep us moving, so we won't get comfortable. This is thankless task. Prabhupada said that's her thankless task. Maya, because she's a Vaishnavi, but her business is to thwart the living entity's false desire or claim to be the lord of matter. So we're trying to control matter, and she's actually controlling us. She says, get back. Adi Devi, Adi Boldi. And if you resist, what happens? If you try to fight, then you're going to walk into that. Right? It's going to be more painful. If you follow, then you won't be so painful. If you go ahead, but if you dare to resist, yes, I can fight. I can overcome Maya. Then you'll actually suffer more. So that's what it is. We're trying to manipulate the energy, the force, to make it easier for us. And we have a desire. Everyone wants to be happy, so we have a desire for happiness. We think about it, then we get a feeling, yeah, we can do it. Then willing, then the whole machinery starts out. We're actually going to do it. And so, but to achieve that happiness, we've got time and space to go through, and all the difficulties that come in between that go along with it. Old age, disease, death, hunger, fear, lamentation, thirst, problems from other people, other living entities, and natural disasters. We got to live in that to get to our goal. So this is the moment you endeavor for happiness, that's when your troubles begin. Right? This is the logic. The moment you endeavor, then your troubles begin. And you got fortunate and you achieve it, how long does it last anyway? Is it worth it, what you put in and what you actually get back? So a person. So if you want happiness, then you have to give up this illusory struggle to try to adjust your karma or try to adjust the material energy. You can't do it. As we mentioned, the spirit soul has nothing to do with this material energy. It's different. Not under our control. 33 crores of devas, they're controlling this stuff. We're different energy. We're different. We're placed in it and covered with it, and we identify ourselves as part of it. But actually we're different. We're nothing to do with it. So this is the grand illusion that we find ourselves in. And so we're trying to be comfortable in this world, material world. Okay? It's an illusion. There's no happiness for the soul in matter. Like there's no happiness for the fish outside of water. There's no happiness for the soul outside of the spiritual world. But by illusion, we forget it. Krishna's removed that remembrance of our actual position. And this is all we got to identify. This is the first reality that we see through these senses, this body, and then everything that's related to this body. We start to identify with that. And therefore, and as soon as you're born, along with birth goes old age, disease, death. They're there for sure. You can't do anything about them. And after that, then there's another birth. So where is the actual? What is actually worthwhile striving for it in this material world? But we're forced to do it. Right? We're forced to act. We can't live without desire. We can't live without acting. We have to eat. We have to sleep. We have to enjoy it to a certain degree, and we have to defend ourselves. We can't deny it. We're not like Jalabraj or the other person, the Python man, that Prahlad. When Prahlad was king, then he went on a tour of the country to find out the characteristics of saintly persons, and he found one man laying down, and he asked, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm laying down." He said, "I can see that, but..." He said, "What do you do?" I said, "I don't do anything." He said, "Well, you look quite healthy to me." He said, "I know." He said, "I'm not always like this. Now I'm laying here and I just eat the leaves that come past." He said, "But sometimes I'm sleeping on beds of silk. People are fanning me and giving me food with ghee. Whatever comes along, I go." So that's the activities of a perfect person. Don't do anything. But one to be that, you can't imitate that. You can't act like that. He's actually self-realized. He's actually understanding that he's different from the body as a soul. He's perceiving that. He's actually feeling that. So he's pretty happy in any situation. Atmarama. Self-satisfied. So that's what we actually want. We become self-satisfied. So if you're self-satisfied in A, then you don't have to go to B. You don't have to make endeavors to get to another thing where the green grass is. You don't need to do that. So that is that's the material illusion. There is no actual happiness for the spirit soul. So one has to be convinced of this by philosophy, because our experience is there is happiness. Right? That's our experience. When the senses contact the sense objects, if they're favourable, then we feel some pleasure, some relief. We can't deny it. It's actual, we're self-realized, right? As far as sense gratification is concerned, we have some self-realization. So that experience that we have, and then on the other side you've got the actual philosophy or the reality of what's going on, which is the most powerful? Your experience or your belief, faith, philosophy? It's very strong. This direct experience is very strong, and it's very difficult to give this up on a promise. Krishna says you give up, you experience the higher taste. What he says, you give up the lower taste by experiencing the higher taste. But that's another catch-22, I think, that slogan. First you have to, he says you can give up the lower taste by experiencing the higher taste. But how to give up the lower taste? You have to experience the higher taste first. Like a catch-22. I can't understand that one. Because unless you actually get, it's taste what we're looking for, right? It's pleasure that we're looking for. That's the goal of everything. Experience, good experience. That's what we're looking for. Well, you have any different. You have different kind of experiences now. You can jump off a bridge with a piece of elastic tied down your feet for some kind of experience. But generally, it's a good experience that we're looking for. Life is all about experience, but it's good experience. And Maya is giving us that taste. Right? There is a feeling of everything's okay sometimes, and there is a feeling, that's nice. There's happiness there. So because of that taste, then we're unwilling to say no to Maya. That is a problem. So it's not only materialists. I mean, we're aspiring devotees. So I suppose we also come under the category of materialists, but not gross materialists. At least we're aspiring to get out of the material situation and reawaken our constitutional situation. But one has to be convinced. One has to know perfectly well about what this material world is. Prabhu says you can chanting Hare Krishna is enough. He said if you like philosophy, we had 60 volumes of book. But if you want, he says even if you want Krishna Prem, it's very difficult without knowledge of your someone that every day and Prayojana. If you don't know what disease condition we're in, then you won't take medicine, right? If you don't know you're sick, you won't take medicine. Therefore the Guru, he diagnoses our disease. You have a skin disease. This is a medicine. It's like they give the example of jaundice, hepatitis, or jaundice, yellow jaundice, we call it. I had that in India. It's not uncommon. And you kind of go yellow color. But the cure is a liver disease, and the cure is sugar candy. You suck this mystery. Keep taking it, and that's good for the liver. But when you're tasting it, when you're eating it, it's bitter. When you got jaundice, it's actually bitter. And you actually know it's sweet, but when you eat it, it's not sweet. So the experience is actually bitter. So you can't convince me that that's sweet. If I don't know what sugar candy is, I'm eating it. It's bitter. You can convince, talk all day and all night, it's actually sweet. It won't register because I'm experiencing it. It's bitter. So that's the problem with the material. We're in a disease condition. We're really identifying ourselves as these bodies, and we're experiencing some happiness and some relief amongst the struggles of life. And that's our ground zero. That's our main realization. So it's very difficult to give up on a promise. Krishna says, you give that up and I'll give you something much better. So you say, okay, Krishna, I'll give it up. And they say, Krishna, okay, Krishna, come on. I've given it up. Krishna said, well, I didn't say when. I said I'll give you, but I didn't say one. But just going to test your faith, how much faith you have in my word. But it's a little difficult to. But so Krishna gives a little taste. Even when we're brand new bhaktas, he gives a little ecstasy now and again, just to convince us that there's some reality there. But if you don't actually know what the material world is, so don't see we're being exposed, and like in the fifth canto, is really exposing the material world for what it is, the forest of material enjoyment, etc. That section there. Then you won't be able to give it up. Unless you know what it is, it's very difficult to give it up. And if you can't give it up, then what's the question of experiencing any higher spiritual feelings, emotions? So both of those. See, first 9 cantos, it's all about of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's all about people's problems, more or less. I mean, there's some stories of Krishna, but mostly it's about problems, isn't it? Emperors and kings and demigods and sages. There's some big problems are going on, and then Maitreya Rishi or Vidura will come, or some other sage, and Narada Muni will come, and the success stories that actually surrender to Krishna. But otherwise, there's so many stories in there for examples from us that these people, they were trying to enjoy it materially, and they had so much facility. Emperors, we're talking about emperors, kings, so much facility, and they couldn't do it. Well, we think we can do it without 10,000 euro dreams or 1 million euro. These are emperors of the world and kings and demigods. They couldn't do it. They weren't successful. Hiranyakashipu was the most successful materialist in existence. But he had everything, right? He had actually control of the nature. He was so powerful, but he couldn't hold it. So he got the position, but he couldn't take it. It wasn't very long. And Nishingadev came and took it all away. So from those examples, well, they couldn't do it. How do they think I'm going to do it? And we think that if we adjust things, economic situation, it'll be better. Of course, life will be more peaceful, but your happiness and distress will be exactly the same. So we can't. Why can't we surrender to Krishna right now? In any condition. You heard about the devotees in the Soviet Russia. So many trying conditions they had. They surrendered to Krishna under hellish conditions. Right? So you can surrender to Krishna at any moment. And that's what it means. Krishna consciousness is not something in the future. You can't be Krishna conscious in the future. You can be Krishna conscious now, but you can't. It's not something to put off for the future. This moment we can surrender to Krishna, like we're doing now, hearing about Krishna, discussing about Krishna, remembering Krishna, associating with devotees, taking vijayam, sitting dancing for other deity. This is surrender to Krishna. It's not a stage we're going to reach Krishna consciousness. It's something it's this present moment. This is the time to be Krishna conscious. So it doesn't matter about your global or your national economic situation here. It's always like that. That was Srila Prabhupada's argument when he met Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. He said, you're educated boys, you preach in the English-speaking countries. He said, who's going to listen to us? We're a subjugated country. First we get our independence and get respectable, then people will listen. He said, no, this Krishna consciousness is so important, you can't wait for political change. You do it now. And also Srila Prabhupada writes in one, he says, Krishna consciousness is not a question of choice. He says, it's a matter of necessity. We're suffering in the material world. We're suffering. Old age disease there. Suffering, it's a question of necessity. You have to have Krishna consciousness if you want to stop this cycle of birth and death and go back to Krishna. So it doesn't, we're thinking like that. If I improve my condition, if I change my situation, if I change my ashram, if I change my zone, if I change I'll be happy. No, the happiness is already fixed. You won't be more happy whether you go through life red, white or blue. Whether you're in this, how would you like it if life was really great? You know, you didn't have to work hardly at all. You know, for your food, you could just throw the seeds in the field. You didn't have to plough the land. You just throw it just grew, and there was tons of fruits and lots of minerals and opulences, and everyone was devotee. And everyone was a devotee. Wouldn't that be fantastic? Huh? Would we like that? Well, you had that one time. In Satyuga, that's what it was like. And you had plenty of time. You had 100,000 years. Fantastic. And everyone was devotees. What are you doing here? You didn't take advantage. No in Treta, no in Dwapara. We're stuck in Kali-yuga, bottom of the barrel. And we're the pits. So, and we're trying to make this a nice, comfortable environment so we can, be easy to practice Krishna consciousness. We had a fantastic environment before. Fantastic. Best. We missed the opportunity. And the heavenly planets, fantastic, no suffering. It's only you go up there to use off your good karma, right? No suffering. No birth. I mean, no childhood. You grow, you're born, you grow up to youth, 16. No teething problems, no nappy changing, none of that stuff. You immediately grow up to your youth, you can really enjoy it. And you can enjoy it right the way through. You have a young, strong, healthy, fabulous looking body. Right the way through. Then you have a nice Vajanti garland. And one day it starts to fade. Oh, that's gone. Then you're gone. That's it. So there's no suffering there. There's no suffering. But you don't hear anyone going back to Godhead from the heavenly planets. They're all devotees, or at least in the mode of goodness and in passion. But you don't hear they're going back. It's so nice. There's no impetus to it. It's so nice there. So that's the problem with the mode of goodness. It's recommended to come to the mode of goodness, but also the mode of goodness is binding because of the sense of knowledge and happiness as a result of activities in the mode of goodness. Yeah, doing okay. So this place, the earth, the karma sand is good, especially good. It's not too bad, it's not too good. So therefore it's called the karma stand. This is where you actually you really do karma. In the other places there's karma there. You're mainly using up your good karma and using off your bad karma downstairs. There is some other karma. Obviously everything is only karma within the material world. But there you don't make much karma, accrue karma. Like on the heavenly planets, the rules are very liberal. There's very liberal. So then you don't have to, you can do plenty of sense gratification. You don't have to, there's no kind of reaction for that. Not like, don't have the rules that we have here. Arjuna went there, who was it? Prabhu? She wanted a dalliance with Arjuna. He said no, because I forgot, anyway, she's coming in, she's one of his ancestors, his great-great-grandmother. No. I'm sorry, was it? Anyway, so he said, it's out of the question, because he was thinking. And she said, well, hey, we don't follow those rules up here. And she cursed him to become a eunuch. We don't follow those rules up here. It's not the earth. You're not on the earth. You're in the heavenly planes. It's a different place. So they don't apply. So there will be no bad reaction. So there's plenty of scope. There's karma there, but you hardly get any karma. You're mostly just using up the results of your pious activities. But the problem is that you get conditioned like that. You don't want to progress. There's no impetus to move up. And down below, you're just thinking of the next thing that's going to happen in the really low planets. You're just worried about the next. You're just just trying to get a little relief from the last session you went through till the next one comes. You can't have no time to think about it. Say, chant Hare Krishna. So this is the place, and we have all of the faculty that we can surrender to Krishna right now by the mercy of Krishna and his pure devotees. And make a society where we can all like-minded people come together and work together and progress together and support each other and to be Krishna conscious. No. So it's not something in the future. So we should give... You see, these two things, your endeavor for happiness, which result, that endeavor to achieve your happiness, that is karma, is work. So you're going to get a reaction for that. So your actual, our endeavor for happiness, our desires for happiness, are actually a cause of distress. The desire for happiness in the material world is the cause of distress, because it means you're going to have to take birth again. There'll be a reaction for that. Good or bad, you've got to come back to get the reaction. So birth is bad. Prabhupada said, no punya, only Radha Krishna. Don't do any sinful activities, don't do any pious activities, only Radha Krishna. Because sinful activities will bring you back, pious activities will bring you back into the better or worse situation. But it's all bad. If you come back, if your birth, old age, disease there, the problems are there. Problems won't go away. So, but that's all the people, the materialists, are doing. Those two things. Defending, so they can enjoy. People are working all day, that's defending. Right? They get to work in the morning, so they can have money to buy food, clothes and shelter. And some extra for enjoying. And then they come home at the end of the day, and then you eat something, take your bath, and you've got a couple of hours to enjoy with that money. So that's the idea. The goal is to enjoy it. But the material energy is so oppressive that unless you feel secure, there's no question of enjoying. You've got to feel safe. If there's any threat, you have to address that first. You don't think of enjoying sense gratification when there's a threat. You have to address the threat first. So you've got to address the eating, sleeping, and defending. Before you have to take care of those before you can address enjoying. But that takes you the whole day. So there's a problem. You're suffering. We don't know what work. If I give you a pill, you took that pill, you wouldn't die. Immediately you stop working. Everyone's just working, but the goal is, nobody's going to work. The goal is happiness. But before this happiness, you've got to remove the problems. You've got to keep one step ahead of the problems. And according to your karma, you can step one step or two steps ahead. You're born to have good karma, you can have servants and things like that. Your work is a lot less. Things come easy. And you'll get the same things anyway, whether you work hard. You'll get the same amount of distress and happiness, whether you work hard or you don't work hard, whatever happens. Now you can say, well, you go rob a bank and have tons of money, you don't get caught. But that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get more happiness. The happiness, you get the same amount of happiness, and you get the same amount of distress. That your facility is not going to change that. Facility is just a medium for expressing you're receiving your reactions through it. But it doesn't mean happiness is not coming from the facility itself, is it? Happiness is not coming from your whatever you drive nowadays, BMW or the other one, Lamborghini. This one says happiness is not coming from that. It's just tin and plastic and glass. It could be an old Ford. As Swami in Mayapur said, actually the happiness is when you're driving your Lamborghini down the road, people go like that. When you're driving your car, when you're driving a Lamborghini, everyone goes like this. That's the actual happiness. Not the car, it's the same thing, you know? But that's the actual happiness. You get attention. I'm special for looking at me, kind of, that's what you want for recognition. But the happiness is not, if you're driving in the middle of them, there's no one around, it's no fun. When you got the latest designer clothes, it can't be any clothes, you've got to have the latest, right? You have to wear clothes for defending yourself, but not any clothes. You've got to wear what other people expect you to wear. And on top of that, you've got to have the latest designer clothes, otherwise you won't be special. And that's only good for one season. Then you've got to have the new, otherwise you're not special. So then you've got this struggle. You're already trapped by Maya, and then you've got the other advertising industry on top of you, and keeping up with the Joneses. It's multi-layered, all these different aspects of what we're supposed to do, how we're supposed to live, how we're supposed to dress, how we're supposed to act, to be a recognized social, a respectable person. So this is a hard struggle for existence. Keeping up with the Joneses, they say. You have that expression? So that's it, struggle. So just those two things. So if you can minimize, that's why I say we should minimize, live simply, simple living, high thing. If you minimize the eating, sleeping, mating, defending, such gratification you have to have, Prabhu says, like salt. Like salt in a meal. If there's not enough, the meal's not good. If there's too much, it's spoiled. So you have the right amount. Not too much, not too much. And but that's all it is. So live simply, and then you'll have extra time to chant Hare Krishna. That's all. Point. Instead of endeavoring, if you know that your hard work and your desires to get these things so you'll be more happy, get this position or get these objects to be happy, is not gonna actually bring you more happiness, then you won't endeavor to do it. But that's what everyone is telling us to do. That's what the whole media and our system is telling us to do, that we'll be happy with stuff. And that will make us more happy. So then we don't have to join that race. Then we'll have a lot of extra time, you see. And live simply. And living simply doesn't mean living under a tree or living in freshly Gora. Living simply means that you're not working hard. If it's your karma, you can have a lot of wealth. You can have your 4 cars in your garage, and you can have your house in the mountains, and you have one on the Adriatic, and the apartment in MBD, and a house in Mayapur, and if it comes easy, there's no problem with that, right? It doesn't mean you have to be, live like a. Well, it means you don't work hard because that person's living like that. I should work like that. Then you're working hard to achieve that. That's mine. And be satisfied with what comes easy. If it's your karma, you're going to get a lot of wealth, then you live like a rich man, obviously. Why you go against it? So that's simple living. Simple living is not working hard. So a poor man, he doesn't work hard, but he lives very modestly because that's all he can afford. He work like an ant to have a much bigger house and a much better car. It's not necessary, but it's only necessary for social prestige. If you don't care for social prestige so much, we care. That's not the goal of life, to be recognized in society. That's not our goals. I think that's materialistic goals. So then we save so much time for chanting Hare Krishna, for practicing Krishna consciousness. And at the same time, our eating, sleeping, mating, defending, we're doing it in a way that Krishna says. It means we're religious. And because of that, it's connected with devotional service. We're doing it to support our devotional life. So that becomes Gona Bhakti, subsidiary devotion, not direct devotional activity, but indirect devotional activities. So there's no karma. So if there's no karma, then what is it? The whole universe is karma. So if it's not karma, what is it? It's a platform of liberation. Prabhu calls it imperceptible liberation. When remembering Krishna, right? It's not for a materialistic goal. There's no materialistic result. So that's freedom. That's actually liberation. We don't feel liberated, and we're not self-realized maybe. That may come later. That's, when you get to Nishta, that self-realization will come. But the fact is that right now we're liberated. This is the fact. We're not endeavoring for our material well-being right now. We're endeavoring to. So it's not karma, is it? There's going to be no reaction for this kind of activity. And all those activities, the 9 activities in devotional service, there's no material reaction for that. That's the actual platform of liberation. That's why it says bhakti starts from the platform of liberation. It starts where moksha leaves out. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Bhakti starts from there, from the platform of liberation. And it's a direct process. We're directly engaging in Krishna's service. And Krishna's, as Mahaprabhu, is accepting our service. So we shouldn't be worried about our future well-being. Have confidence. Some people don't perform in devotional service. You're still going to get old, we're still going to get sick, we're still going to die, even though we have Kuntimara and Dila. That won't stop that. The bottom line is, it's the last one. The last quote. That's your bottom line. It's not long. You flap around for a few more years, chant Hare Krishna, throw your body here, there, do some service. Go back to work. So it's not, at least we don't have all that mental anxiety without life struggle. We have to work. Everyone has to work. And you work, according to karma, you may have to work a bit more. But anyway, to maintain yourself, to get some food and shelter and clothes, you have to do something. If you got good karma, it won't be difficult. If you got less karma, less good karma, then it will be more endeavor. But it doesn't matter. It's all relative. Right? It's only for another few years. then you finish and go back to your head. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hey, happiness in the material world, key. Sorry. He's Mahajan, he's saying what's on what to do. We tried, didn't we, Friday? It didn't work. Otherwise, why are we here? Any comments?
May I ask a question? So I wanted to ask, in devotional service, I see that the bigger problem is not endeavoring hard, but going in a, in a way of less resistance. I see that because, can you please explain how to make a balance? Like between taking care of your family, earning something, and practicing devotional service, because it's easier way just to leave everything, all the responsibilities, and just to do those things. Can you just please explain a little bit more so that I can understand? May I just translate? Pitao sam kako zapravo u duhovnom životu jednostavno napraviti balans između toga da se trudimo i osiguramo neke osnovne potrebe i također da izbalansiramo sa našim duhovnim životom.
Well, it's definitely, by the mercy of the Vaishnavas, they've given us a society, it's definitely a much simpler way of life to be dependent in the society, like a brahmachari. Right? Brahmachari. You don't have to worry about earning a living, you don't have to worry about cooking your food, you don't have to worry about your clothes, everything is supplied. Simple. But like I said, the family life, it doesn't matter which way you go through life. Grihastha life is one of more responsibility. Because the grihasthas, they have to maintain the brahmacharis, the vanaprasthas, and the sannyasis, because they don't work. So it's only the grihasthas that are producing, you see. So they have to maintain the... Kali Yuga sometimes it's the other way around, but they're supposed to maintain, so it's one of responsibility. Of course, human life is one of responsibility for everyone. So, but when we're going to work, we have a family to maintain. When we go to work, we're going for the money, That's all, to maintain the family. So that's not considered material. It depends on the reason why you're going to work. It's only for money. And what is that money going to be used for? It's to support your grihastha ashram. So that's not material. So there's no karma there. And that's not bad association when you work with the karmis, because you're not going to be intimate with those people. You're intimate with the devotees, revealing your mind, giving, accepting gifts. Of course, you give prasadam, things like that. That you say for the devotees. Those people are only there. They're there because by the same reason as you, there to get a salary. So it's just coincidental who is there. So that's not considered association. So you behave like a gentleman or a lady, but you're using that Lakshmi to support your grihastha ashram. So it's not two things. It's devotion service is only one thing. Understand? It's supporting your devotional lifestyle. You have to have an income. So that's what that is. If you're working, that is. If you're working for somebody else. So that's not material, and then you go to the temple and that's spiritual. Something like that. The whole life is should be connected with Krishna, seeing Krishna in everything. And of course, you're not going to remember Krishna if you're doing a job and you're requiring your attention on doing some accounts or some graphics. Of course, you're not going to remember Krishna at that time, right? But the purpose of your going there is the ultimate purpose is your salary, and that is to be used to support your devotional life. So then that's not considered material activity. When Arjuna was shooting the enemy, he wasn't thinking of Krishna. He had to touch what he had to invoke he had to chant the mantra of the demigod. The demigod would appear in person and into the ashram. So he was remembering Krishna. He was just seeing the end target. He knew he had to kill them. So he actually, he couldn't remember him Krishna. Although Krishna said, "Fine, remember me." But he was doing it for Krishna. He was fighting for Krishna. He wasn't for himself. He wanted to quit. He wanted to go to the forest. But he agreed to fight for Krishna. But while he was actually doing it, he wasn't exactly remembering Krishna, because he had to give full concentration on those to empower those astras and to win and to kill the enemy. But you can't say that was mine, that was material, because he was doing it for Krishna, you see. So don't think material and spiritual like that. Part of my life is material, and when I go to the temple, or the morning puja is spiritual, and the day is Maya, and then the night time is not. Okay. Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives a proper consciousness. One example of the householder, grihastha. Krishna is not my house, it's your house. But I'm the caretaker of your house. Krishna is not my wife, she's your servant. But I'm taking that responsibility to protect, maintain, and nourish and give Krishna consciousness. Krishna is not my husband, he is your devotee. But I've taken that position to assist, serve, that we can advance in Krishna consciousness together. Krishna is not our children, they're your devotees, but we're responsible for giving them these bodies. So therefore, along with that, we're responsible for giving them all the love and the nourishment and everything they need, and the education or knowledge how to go back to Godhead, to live their last life. So this way, he's saying this is how you remember Krishna, even though you're doing, eating, sleeping, mating, defending. You're connected all with Krishna. So that's the secret of devotional life. Then it's not karma, is it, anymore? As long as we're connecting with Krishna and doing it for his behalf, it's not maya. It's a liberated activity.
Somehow we all know, consciously or unconsciously, actually, in this world, even the spiritual world, happiness and distress come from relationships, not from the things. So somehow, how to translate this message from Prahlad Maharaj, which he says, don't endeavor for happiness, because if we want relationships, spiritual relationships, there should be some endeavor. So how to somehow, or maybe not to have expectations, because devotees also sometimes, mostly they suffer because they spoil their relationships. So somehow how to connect this with this Prahlad Maharaj's message.
You love Krishna, you love anything connected with Krishna, so you love Krishna's devotees. And you associate with them, those devotees who are of a similar nature. If a devotee has a different nature than you, or you don't get along with them, then you don't associate with them. They have different kind of mentality. Respect them, but you don't have to associate. Even if someone's advanced, if they're not the same nature, or a completely different nature, then you don't have to associate with them. You associate with like-minded people. Our primary relationship is we have the relationship with Guru, and he wants us to act in such a way that we'll reawaken our relationship with Krishna, with the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. I notice devotee relationships is a very popular word in ISKCON recently, and many of the gurus are stressing to have relationships amongst devotees, and part of that is, don't quote me, part of that is everyone's going to the guru and say, oh Guru, there's that, I'm no friend, lonely, and then so they say, look, make friends with you, make some friends. They're putting everything onto the guru so he can overload it. So he said, make friends. Have some friends. So I was looking for friends, have some friends. But don't take everything to the guru or your problems to the guru. You have your friends there. You can't be everyone's friend all the time, 24 hours a day. If we associate with devotees, as far as our service brings us together. Then we have a special relation to someone who's of a very similar nature. Then we take more close association. And they have the very same nature. Then they become our friends. That's all. But you should be peaceful even if you don't have your relationship. You have that connection with Krishna, who has given you the whole Krishna's name. He's given you Krishna in the form of his name, and he's given you his instructions. So, because some people don't need any relationships. Some people are very introvert, and they're fine without any relationships. Right? So it's just a question of your own personal needs. If you feel you've got to have more interaction with devotees, then go for it. But of course, if the relationship turns out something, is something wrong with me or you or both of us, why didn't it work out? If it's based on service to Krishna, then there should never be anything wrong with that relationship. So if it's not working out, it means and of course there's something wrong because we're not pure devotees. So we gotta find our needs with devotees. We've got to fulfill our needs with devotees because that's who we can associate with. And because we don't associate with karmis, then they're not going to give us problems. So who's going to give us our problems? If we don't associate with devotees, then we get the problems come through the devotees. If you're talking on the material platform of karma. We don't associate with materialists, so then they'll come to the devotee. So whose fault is it that you're even are you suffering any more than you're supposed to? So you don't suffer any more than you're supposed to. But if you feel that, if that relationship is sour, it's probably because it wasn't actually based on a spiritual relationship of service to Krishna. It was probably based on my needs. I need some emotional support from you or something like that. I like to be with you because I get good feelings from you. In other words, it was a material calculation. As soon as the reciprocation stops, then there's in the material world, then there's divorce, or you don't, because it's based on what I'm getting from that person. And the materials, that's the material sense. What I'm getting, if I'm getting something good from you, then you become my friend. I'm close to you. If that stops, then I'll go somewhere else. So if the relations turn sour, it probably wasn't centered on service to Krishna. So then problem. But let's face it, we're patients here, we're not pure devotees. And we do have our material needs which need addressing. So we can address them with devotees, but of course it may not be done on a pure transcendental platform. So therefore it turns sour sometimes. Yes. Make this the last question, please. Jonathan. Could I say something about Lord Chaitanya in respect of people looking for happiness and peace? What is the mood of Lord Chaitanya that his mode is, let's chant. Why are we wasting time at night sleeping? Let's chant Hare Krishna all night. And then all the transcendental ecstasies used to awake in those people. So they were forgetting about sleeping sometimes. So his mode was he's experienced the mode of Srimati Radharani 2 times. So the two sides, the Rupa and Sambhava. So when the union was there, then Lord Chaitanya was feeling great ecstasy. And he was saying, this is so nice, come on, everyone take it. And he was surprised that no one else is taking it. He's trying to distribute it, but people are not willing to take it. So then he can't understand why they're not taking it. It's so nice. Some of you only have to do is chant Hare Krishna. You can experience love of Krishna. And these people are so unfortunate. So in Kali Yuga, he's come to big classes. This is another topic. But anyway, him and his associates, they were very, very, very sincere, very serious about Krishna consciousness, and very sincere. Otherwise, it's a big topic. I can't say it in a few words. Okay. want one more question?
Get back the taste for chanting. We have been, let's say, had this taste for chanting for a certain period. And then we fell into this trap, trying to get continuous happiness. While we focus on this, we want to actually taste for chanting. Stop chanting. And then, because the heart was concerning desires, nations, lust, greed, etc. He said no more to Maya, we have no taste of chanting, so it's hard to get back. To get back this taste of chanting. What to do then in order to get back this taste of chanting?
Wait. To wait. Ramakrishna Maharaj said it takes as long to get out of Maya as you were in Maya. It takes me longer. But see, Maya there's two problems with Maya. When we get off the path of Krishna consciousness, so then you stop advancing. So then you get off and you dabble with Maya. Then you get back on again. But then you get the reaction, so that reaction will come around later and check your progress. And Maya has the two potencies. One of them is the throwing potency. You want to surrender to Krishna, but something just won't let you do it. She says, no, you don't have that adhika. So she kind of throws. She got this throwing, a blocking potency. I perceive it like you're trying to surrender to Krishna, you really want to do it, but there's something there won't let you do it. So that's a result of misled activities. So then you have to pray and just carry on the mind movement processes. And that's why you need patience and determination to keep going. And then gradually it can come back again when Krishna sees that they're sincere and they've repented. Prabhu ki jai.